Are you fascinated by the paranormal and want to hear about encounters that have happened to real-life people in real-life places? Do you need a drink to calm those nerves after hearing some scary stories?
You're listening to Booze and Bourbon.
Well, we invite you to grab a drink, whether it's a coffee or something with a little bit more spirit in it. Grab a blanket, snuggle in, because I'm Kim and that's Jen, and we're Booze and Bourbon.
Good evening. I was trying to make that really cool. Welcome back, everyone. This is Jen, and this is Kim.
Hello, I'm Kim, and I'm going to say good morning, just to throw everyone off. Like, I don't know if you're listening to us in your car on your way to work, or maybe you're just winding down with a bourbon in hand, and you're sitting by a campfire, and you can hear our voices.
I just wanted to sound like Dracula, that's all.
So, Jen, how are you this week?
Some Christmas shit in my house. I don't get a tree until next week because I get a real tree, so I don't want it to die.
I'm with you on that one.
So I try to hang out till the first or second weekend of December-ish, somewhere in there. But yeah, no, I just did some, just pulling out all the jazz and,
Yeah.
putting it out.
Yeah, I got some Christmas decorating too, but like you, I'm waiting for a real tree.
Yeah.
Not a fake one.
No.
I saw that one of our lovely other ABV network fancy people, aka Stephanie McNew, she's very crafty. I don't know if you've noticed that, but she's very crafty. And anyway, I think she's trying to do a Larceny bourbon bottle Christmas tree topper, like an angel or a star at the top of the tree.
That is super cool.
I know. I want to see how it turns out.
Mm-hmm. You can start selling those. Just saying.
Oh, she totally could.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's lots of bourbon enthusiasts out there.
Sure is.
Speaking of Christmas and all the lovely bourbon and food that goes along with Christmas, I made this amazing pork loin for my family, my dad and my brother and his wife and my husband. And I went to the recipe because it said maple glazed, but it actually in the glaze had bourbon and maple and molasses.
Ooh,
it
delicious.
Was so good. I don't know if anybody is connected with America's Test Kitchen, but if you want to find that recipe, you got to check it out there. It's really good. Anyway, we've got this really cool episode for you guys today. Mm-hmm. It's pretty neat because it goes around different regions of the world and what their sort of paranormal folklore is. Mm-hmm. And Jen, you know somebody who has a firsthand story of one of these, so it's going to be pretty interesting. But before we go any further, we have this lovely new bottle of bourbon here in front of us.
We do.
We've got Booker's Bourbon. So, Jen, I'm going to let you do the cork pop because you are so good at it.
Love popping corks.
Don't let me down now. Ooh. Wow.
Yes.
That was a very good one.
I even got a little whatever this is. There we go.
Oh, little Booker himself right there.
A little booger.
So Booker's is part of Jim Beam's small batch collection, and it's cask strength, and it's non-chill filtered, and it was first given out as gifts by Booker No before being made available to the public way back in 1992. It's aged between 6 and 8 years and bottled anywhere from 120 to 130 proof, so she is strong.
Yeah.
It's definitely a bourbon with bite, and it's been recommended that we let this bloom with a little water. So,
okay.
Do you have a little water there, Jen?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Give her a little splash.
Perfect.
A little dollop will do you.
Oh my gosh, it smells so good.
Did you say McGish?
McGish.
Kim.
I smell a lot of oakiness.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that's more overpowering than like the caramel smell.
It is. Yeah, I agree. There's definitely a lot of oak in there.
But I got a little apple too, almost, or something
like fruitiness
fruity,
for sure. Okay, I'm gonna give it a sip.
Wow,
that
warms up right quick.
It does. It has an insanely long finish.
Yeah, it does.
And
still
I
there.
Feel like now all I taste is cherries.
I can see where you get the cherries from.
Yeah. So it's spicy, oaky, definitely have some vanilla in there. And
this is going to be a weird comparison as well, but like the Laffy Taffy that you used to chew. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I get that. flavor. Or just like taffy in general, like that, like.
You are 100% correct. Very good observation, Jen.
Thank you. I'm good with candy when it comes to comparisons, so.
I'm very glad that we have added some water to this because I don't know if I'd be able to handle it without it.
This would definitely heat the bourbon pocket up to 100, so.
Yes. Okay, so my thoughts on it are, yes, it is not for the faint of heart.
No.
But it is very smooth and it has a lot of really great taste to it.
It does.
Yeah.
It'll just get you right in the chest, though.
Chesticles.
Right in the chesticles. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. It's great for a cold winter night.
Isn't it?
Yes. So now's about time for Would You Rather?
Dun, dun, dun.
Jen.
Yes.
Would you rather come back as, in this kind of folklore that we're going to be talking about, would you rather come back as a Scottish, completely skin-covered gremlin riding on a horse? Or would you rather come back as an Irish banshee? Just screaming and wailing from the depths of the castles.
I've always, and I have been to Ireland, and my dad's side of the family is there, and so we learned about the banshees, and I was always a big fan because I love screaming, so I just feel like that's just my thing. I mean, I would be a great banshee. I would just fucking scream my lungs out all the time, like.
Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, and I don't really like the idea of the little skin guy on the horse, even though I love horses.
And that's where I thought it would be a difficult decision for you because you love horses.
It was a tough one. I do appreciate that question, though.
You're welcome.
Okay, so also going with the episode today. So would you rather be what they call the heart man,
Okay.
which we will get into,
Okay.
or would you rather be the jumbie?
So the Hartman is what?
He goes after little children and gives the hearts, takes their hearts.
Okay, no, I don't want to be him. And the other one is...
Not as bad as that, but still would probably go after children, but maybe everybody else as well. And
So not selective?
not selective, no.
Okay. I want to be the non-selective. I just want to ravage anybody and everybody and not just go seeking children.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
I see you for that as well. I don't think that you would just want to go take hearts from children. That's not.
No. They're
not
the
your
most
thing.
innocent. I mean, if they were the only things that I had to select from, then...
If that was what you lived off of eating, though, if you can only survive off of children's hearts, what are you going to do? You don't have a choice.
I'd probably choose to die.
You'll join Santa's team and go for the bad list of kids and go from there.
No, that's a really great idea. Yeah. Oh, Timmy. He's getting charcoal because he's been a bad boy. And then I would put a star next to Timmy's name because I'd be
Timmy
like,
sounds delicious.
Yeah.
I'll be over later.
Exactly. Oh my God. Okay, so guys, just after the break, we're going to get into today's main topic, which is folklore from around the world. Stay tuned.
All right, guys, we're back to get into our stories, folklore type stories from around the world.
Yes. Jen, would you like me to start this off?
Sure, go right for it.
We're going to take you all to Brazil. So in Brazil, a tall, skinny woman with long yellow fingernails and red eyes creeps along the rooftops and watches families inside of their homes. She watches them as they sit at the table for dinner. She watches them while they eat. La pisadera. After the meal, when someone goes to sleep on a full stomach, La pisadera sneaks into their bedroom. She sits on their chest so they cannot move. La pisadera that has attacked them watches them as they begin to panic. The victim's eyes partly open, but they're neither fully asleep or fully awake, helpless and trapped in a body that won't move. Sleep paralysis is a well-studied disorder. The worst thing is when you try to fight or call for help, a Redditor said in a conversation about what the experiences with it like were. Your voice doesn't work and your body will not respond. You just feel helpless. And among those who suffer from it across many cultures, there is one unsettling common experience, a sense that a malevolent force is hovering over them in their immobile state. The earliest one I can remember is with my mother in the room as she's sitting on my bed. Her face morphs into a demon-like thing, a Redditor shared on a thread. Or a large dark figure, kind of a human silhouette, emerging from the foot of my bed and staring down at me.
That is a scary one. Mm-hmm. I've had that happen, actually.
You have?
Back in the days of the Shaw Group, when I lived in Halifax.
Oh, yes, you felt something next to you.
And I woke up, could not move, couldn't speak, but I felt something behind me, like laying beside me. And I knew that I was by myself. And all I could do when I eventually could move was get up and run to the bathroom and lock myself in there and then call my boyfriend at the time.
Wow.
And it is very, like, it's upsetting because you do feel paralyzed. You can't move and you can't make a sound. So you're just laying there in fear, knowing that you feel like there's something right there and you can't get up.
You've never had that happen to you since?
No, never again. Moving on. Her name was Maria. She lived in Mexico. She had long dark hair and a covetous heart. The man she loved would not have her. So she took her children in a fit of rage, took them down to the river, and drowned them one by one. When the man she loved spurned her again, she realized what she'd done. She took herself to the water and threw herself in, to subject herself to the same fate as her children. But heaven would not have Maria, and she was condemned to wander the world in perpetual grief. She is La Llorona, the wailing woman. The people who have seen her said they can hear her walking, soaking wet, wearing all white, and she can be heard crying out for the little ones she killed. I don't know how to say this, guys, but "E mijijos," she weeps, which is, "Oh, my children." Some say she snatches other young children as she walks, mistaking them for her own children she knew. Children along the Mexican border grow up with her story, which traces itself to stories about several different female spirits of the Aztec Empire. My earliest memory of her is being in elementary school and being in the girls' bathroom, says Terry, who grew up in Texas in the Rio Grande Valley. She and the other young children would try to summon La Llorona in the bathroom mirror. The lights had to be out, Martina says. The door had to be closed. They'd splash water on the mirror and say her name 3 times. La Llorona, La Llorona, La Llorona. It was just seeing who could stand, being in the dark room, and seeing how long we could stand there waiting for her to come out of the sink, Martina said. It usually ended with a bunch of little girls screaming and running out of the bathroom.
So didn't we do that with Bloody Mary when we were kids in bathrooms?
Yeah, we did. And Candyman.
That's
Bloody
right.
Mary and Candyman. But I think I remember for some reason you had to turn around. Like you were saying it and you were turning in circles.
Yes, you had to spin around.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one comes from Scandinavia, and since I'm not Scandinavian, I apologize because I don't believe I'm going to say this correctly. Genganger.
Yes.
It's like you.
It's me.
Okay. These grouchy Nordic spirits kill via a pinch, usually delivered at night. The pinch skin will turn blue and cause a wasting disease, which will eventually travel to the victim's heart. Unlike most ghosts, Genganger looks more or less like normal living people, which makes them difficult to spot. So keep your wits about you next time you're testing beds at IKEA. Likely origin, Genganger myths were likely Viking in origin and may have to do with fears of plague. Oh, and P.S., call me crazy, but I've been on Etsy. Have you ever gone on Etsy before?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've been looking for like 13th and 14th century authentic rings. And I've found one, which I really want for Christmas. And it has a Viking origin.
Ooh.
It's very cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next one. The slit-mouthed woman. This is from Japan. This supremely creepy Japanese ghost is a beautiful woman in a surgical mask, which is commonly worn by cold or allergy sufferers in many parts of Asia. She approaches victims at remote train or bus stations at night and asks, "Am I beautiful?" If the victim says yes, she removes the mask, revealing a gaping, Joker-like bloody smile. If the victim then says no, she pulls out a butcher's knife and slices the victim's face like her own.
Oh my god.
Though the legend is ancient, Kusaki Onna had a revival in the 1970s when scores of the schoolchildren in Nagasaki Prefecture began reporting sightings, causing police to believe that there was a female psychopath on the loose. Likely origin, the Kusaki Onna story may have originated in feudal Japan as a cautionary tale about infidelity. According to the legend, a samurai's concubine cheated on him, and she was punished by having her mouth sliced open. Modern versions of the story reimagine the samurai as a jealous, abusive husband.
Interesting.
Wow.
I know I wouldn't like to see her.
He needs to calm down.
Yes, he does. The Naclavy originated in Scotland. The Scottish Naclavy is a skinless centaur with a snout like a pig's that expels gusts of steam, a single enormous eye, and arms that drag upon the ground. According to the Encyclopedia of Fairies and World Folklore and Mythology, it lives in the ocean and can kill people by breathing on them, leading them to waste away and eventually die.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. The Gullen. A description of Sweden's Gullen, a fearsome legendary animal with the head and ears of a cat, a body like a lion's, and the tail of a fox, appeared in A Description of the Northern People, an exhaustive account of the folklore and history of Nordic countries, published in 1555 by Swedish writer Olaus Magnus. The Gullen gorges itself on carrion until it's grossly distended, then squeezes itself between two trees to make room for more.
Ew.
I wish I could do that when I ate too much.
Be gone, stretchy pants.
Squeeze myself in the door frame or something.
Where are those two trees?
According to Giants, Monsters, and Dragons, an encyclopedia of folklore legends and myth.
Interesting. Okay, so now we're going to get into Finfolk. In the Orkney Islands, which is actually where Henry Sinclair is from, the northern coast of Scotland, people once whispered of the Finfolk, a tribe of sorcerers and shapeshifters who were skilled at boating and could bend the ocean to their will. Finfolk could live underwater or on land, though their permanent home was usually described as a marvelous city at the bottom of the ocean, and they would venture into towns and villages to steal humans as husbands or wives.
I'm going to go into a little Barbados, which is one of my favorite places. The folklore of Barbados goes back to the people's African roots. Many folk beliefs involve methods of keeping ghosts or duppies from returning to haunt living people. These folk methods include sprinkling rum on the ground. What a waste.
Exactly.
Walking into the house backward and hanging herbs from your windows and doorways. Barbados is known for its vast and intricate history spanning a great number of years, from the historical bus of rebellion to the island's independence in 1966. Over a period of time, a number of interesting tales and folklore have developed throughout the island. Tales either used as a humorous little anecdotes or to evoke fear in others. The island's folklore has most of its roots linked to its African ancestry, where tales of evil spirits and magical beings are common. The more popular folklore stories include the gruesome tales of the Heartman, who kills little children and offers their hearts to the devil as a form of worship. Another tale is the Bako, a tiny spirit who lives in a bottle and decides the fate of others, usually those who have wronged the person who summoned the spirit. A third scary folklore that includes the Chase Crypts. In this 1800 century tale, a sealed family crypt was opened on numerous occasions after reports of strange sounds coming from the burial site. Each time the crypt was reopened, the 6 solid lead coffins inside were found thrown around the room. The coffins would once again be arranged in an orderly fashion, only to be found scattered once again a few months after. So as we spoke about in an earlier episode, the Duppy or Jumby is a well-known entity. These malevolent spirits are part of the voodoo religion and can probably be found anywhere in the Caribbean, and are one of the most well-known, anywhere except for Mamiwata. Like many creatures of Caribbean folklore, like the rolling cow, which was above mentioned to be one type of Duppy, these creatures were said to live in silk cotton trees on the island, which until recently were not often cut down because of this. It is known you are in a Duppy's presence by an inexplicable heat or disorientation. There are many tales surrounding these creatures. It is said that if one is to see a Duppy and then step on someone's toes who is with them, the person would also be able to see the Duppy. At Christmas, a special table with food, drink, cutlery, and a glass of water, which is actually for the Duppy, would be put out and was not to be eaten until Christmas Day. If you did touch anything, the Duppy was said to come after you. When new houses were built and blessed by a preacher, townspeople would sprinkle water in the house's four corners to prevent a Duppy from entering. If you're being chased by a Duppy, there were certainly a few ways to get away. One was to begin acting vulgar to startle the Duppy. Start cussing, show it your genitals, and be as rude as possible. Another way is to turn your clothes inside out. Well, gee, this seems really simple. I mean, I'm just going to go with the being vulgar part. One Duppy case, which was said to happen frequently to taximen and travelers of lonely roads, was that of a woman in white trying to hitch a ride. Once inside, you would begin to feel that heat and disorientation. You would turn around as you realized she was a spirit, and she would simply be gone. If you didn't stop for her, she would try to get through slight openings in windows. The ghosts of traditional belief and popular culture are similar to Duppies in how they can appear in a number of forms, such as how the Duppy and rolling cow are related, and how they are believed to be the earthly soul of a dead person. They are also similar to vampires in their erythromania.
Creepy. Are you going to show a Duppy your genitals?
You know, I was going to go with the vulgar part because I'm good with that, but like, I don't know about showing my genitals to a ghost. Like, because then I feel like that's just going to be one of those, like, you got punked situations where then there's like a camera rolling and like there you are just with your pants down and yelling swear words at nothing. So,
yeah, I can see this being a really great show.
Yeah.
Let's start it up. Booze and Bourbon's going on TV.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so that pretty much concludes all of our storytelling for today.
Yes.
And we just wanted to let you know that we are so happy we have so many great new listeners. And we also wanted to let you know if you want to become a patron and get some behind the scenes footage, get some bartender cocktail recipes.
Yeah.
And also some articles by me, plus some really cool videos. You should head on over to www.patreon.com/boozeandbourbon. Also, if you just want to find us on social media, if you don't follow us already, you can find us on Instagram at Booze and Bourbon and also on Facebook at Booze and Bourbon, the podcast. If you want to send us an email or reach out and just say, hey, you can. You just need to send an email to boozeandbourbon@gmail.com. So, Jen, who are our Patreon supporters right now?
Well, we have the ABV Network. We have the Ghost Story Guys. We have Stephanie McNew. We have Rebecca. We have Aaron with an A, Aaron with an E, and Cindy.
By the way, I got 2 of her books. She writes a book called Annie Goes to Oak Island, and it's so sweet. I will show you the book here shortly. It is about a lovely little whippet named Annie.
Whippet.
And she adventures Oak Island with Tony Sampson's daughter, Izzy.
Aww.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. So if you guys are Oak Island fans, you should definitely check out that book. It's going to be really great to give at Christmas time to any children or really any adults that are obsessed with Oak Island.
Yeah.
So guys, we will check you out next Friday with an all-new episode. And until then, stay spooky, stay hydrated with bourbon, and stay warm.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Booze and Bourbon is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to advertise on the show, please head over to abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening, and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.